I'm going to share my screen first, and then Gideon and Prabhu, you can share later. So Srila Shukadev Goswami is continuing on with his description of the lower planetary systems. So the lower planetary systems are the planetary systems which are below Bhuloka in this picture. The Bhuloka or Bhumandal. So below that is Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, and Patal. So here we are finding the description that are coming of Atal, then Vital, and then Sutal. And in terms of the distance, you can see that below the Bhumandal, 70,000 yojanas is where the lower worlds are. And as we discussed before, they have the same width as the Bhumandal. So how it is showing as spiraling down, that's not the true picture. The true picture should be they are of the same breadth. Okay, so that's all I wanted to point out before we go into this description. Okay, so here, first, Shukadev Goswami is talking about the Atal planetary system and specifically describing the mindset of the women over there. And he's pointing out that in Atal, there is a demon and who is the son of Maidanav, whose name is Bala. And this son of Maidanav, Bala, created 96 kinds of mystic powers. And it is said that some of the so-called yogis and swamis take advantage of this mystic power to cheat people even today. So how did he create? Simply by yawning, the demon Bala created 3 kinds of women who are known as Swairini, Kamini, and Pumschali. And then Shukadev Goswami gives the description of these 3 kinds of women. Swairini, they like to marry men from their own group. And Kaminis marry men from any group. And Pumschalis, they change husbands one after another. If a man enters the planet of Atal, these women immediately capture him and induce him to drink an intoxicating beverage made with a drug known as hatak or cannabis indica. This intoxicant endows the man with great sexual prowess, of which the women take advantage for enjoyment. A woman will enchant him with attractive glances, intimate words, smiles of love, and then embraces. In this way, she induces him to enjoy sex with her to her full satisfaction. And because of his increased sexual power, the man thinks himself stronger than 10,000 elephants and considers himself most perfect. Indeed, illusioned and intoxicated by false pride, he thinks himself God, ignoring impending death. So these are indicators of the levels of consciousness as we are gliding down towards lower planetary systems. Now, there are going to be exceptions, as we will see shortly. But as we are going down in the direction of the Patal, like Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, Patal, and in this way, as we are going down, the consciousness is degrading proportionately. And we will see that as we are going down in the planetary systems, the distances from the Bhumandal is not that much. But when we were going in the upward direction to the upper or higher planetary systems, the distances were growing practically exponentially. And that shows also the exponential growth of consciousness or exponential elevation of consciousness. Here, the consciousness is naturally in the degrading direction. And you can appreciate that this kind of description can be obtained only from scripture like Srimad Bhagavatam, which covers all the dimensions of time as well as space. And these kind of information cannot be obtained otherwise, because we do not have any means to go to these lower planetary systems. It would be interesting to think that if the attempt is made to go to the abode of moon, one can think of an attempt can be made to go to these lower planetary systems as well, because they are closer. So next comes the planet, which is Vital planet, that is just below Atal. Vital planet is interesting. This is where Lord Shiva, who is known as the master of gold mines, lives with his personal associates. And who are Lord Shiva's associates? The ghosts and similar living entities. Lord Shiva, as the progenitor, engages in sex with Bhavani, the progenitress, to produce living entities, and from the mixture of their vital fluid, the river named Hataki is generated. Now, interestingly, in the previous verse, you saw the same word, little twisted, that was Hatak, that was the drug, the intoxicating beverage. Okay. Here it is Hataki, which is a river as opposed to a drug. When fire being made to blaze by the wind, drinks of this river and then sizzles and spits it out, it produces gold called Hatak. The demons who live on that planet with their wives decorate themselves with various ornaments made from that gold, and thus they live there very happily. So, who are living there very categorically called out? The demons. Okay. Oftentimes the question is asked, where are the demons residing? So you will hear all these various categories of demons. They are living in these lower planetary systems. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of the 17th verse, there he brings out the definition of initiation, which is the yatha kanchanatam yati kamshyam rasa vidhanatah tatha diksha vidhanena vijitvam jayate nirnam. What happens when one goes through the process of initiation? It acts like the process of alchemy, which is able to transform a bell metal into gold. So Prabhupada somehow or other taking the point about gold and then raises our consciousness here. So Prabhupada points out the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is trying to turn mlechas and yavanas into real brahmanas by properly initiating them and stopping them from engaging in meat-eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. One who stops these four principles of sinful activity and chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra can certainly become a pure Brahmana through the process of bona fide initiation, as suggested by Srila Sanatana Goswami. So this Yatha Kanchanatam Yati, this is Sanatana Goswami's wonderful verse. It's probably interesting how the process is detailed a little bit here. If one takes a hint from this verse and learns how to mix mercury with bell metal by properly heating and melting them, one can get gold very cheaply. The alchemists of the medieval age tried to manufacture gold, but they were unsuccessful, perhaps because they did not follow the right instructions. It's very interesting to note that Isaac Newton, who is known for so many wonderful um, discoveries and inventions, and he is by far the most, I would say, prominent scientist, making so many contributions which the the modern world is benefiting from even today. His actually majority of life was spent not so much in the physics world, but more in the chemistry world, trying to figure out how to manufacture gold in the process of alchemy. And it's also interesting that the ISKCON devotees at some point in time, around the time of 1968, when they found out about this alchemy process, they were literally thinking how to actually manufacture gold using this medieval process. And if they were able to make gold, then they can make Krishna's altar. So they even posed this question to Srila Prabhupada that um, that can we use this yogic form of producing gold to be used in Krishna's service? And Prabhupada's response was interesting. Um, he first says that, okay, I'm not sure like what you're asking, but if you make Krishna's sitting place made of gold, either by alchemy or by purchasing gold, it will be a grand success. But then Prabhupada cautions them by saying that I do not advise you to take advantage of alchemy for making gold. Why? Because it is not certain. We should not waste our time on that which is not very sure. So this was Prabhupada's response. And then he makes a very interesting point that I think Krishna will not give you. I think Krishna will not give us that opportunity because as soon as we get large quantities of gold, we forget Krishna. And therefore, um, Prabhupada in this way discouraged the devotees to use this process. So 18th verse onward, the description of the Sutal planet comes. Sutal planet is a very important planet because that's the place where Bali Maharaj is ruling over. We will learn the glories of Bali Maharaj in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. But here we are still getting in touch with how glorious Bali Maharaj is. So although he is residing in a lower planetary system because of his demoniac belonging, but at heart he is a pure devotee. So we find this kind of like odd person out or exceptional cases, um, like in Bali Maharaj case, in the Prahlad Maharaj's case, in Vritrasura's case, they are all born in demoniac families, and yet they are top-notch pure devotees, even greater than King Indra. So it is being pointed out that for the welfare of Indra, the king of heaven, Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of a dwarf brahmachari as the son of Aditi and tricked Bali Maharaj by begging for only places of land, 3 paces of land, but taking all the 3 words. Now, this will be elaborately described in the 8th canto. Being very pleased with Bali Maharaj for giving all his possessions, the Lord returned his kingdom and made him richer than the opulent King Indra. Now, it was very, very interesting that that Lord Shri Krishna appeared as the dwarf Brahmana Vamandev to benefit whom? To benefit Indra. So um, Vamandev is also known as Upendra because his younger brother of Indra, being the son of Aditi, because Lord Indra is also son of Aditi. So they are brothers. So to benefit Indra, apparently, he took that form and apparently cheated Bali Maharaj. But who became really victorious in the end? It's actually Bali Maharaj. So even now, Bali Maharaj engages in devotional service by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the planet of Sutala. So 18th purport brings out Bali Maharaj's full surrender to Vamandev. And Srila Prabhupada takes every opportunity to glorify such glorious devotees and also giving us lessons of Krishna consciousness in this way. So Prabhupada writes, Bali Maharaj offered everything to the Lord. He is considered to be the epitome of Atma Nivedana. His wealth, his kingdom, and even his own body, Sarvatma Nivedana, Balihi. The Lord appeared before Bali Maharaj as a Brahman beggar, and Bali Maharaj gave him everything he had. However, Bali Maharaj did not become poor. By donating all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he became a successful devotee and got everything back again with the blessings of the Lord. Similarly, those who give contributions to expand the activities of the Krishna consciousness movement and to accomplish its objectives will never be losers. They will get their wealth back with the blessings of Lord Krishna. On the other side, those who collect contributions on behalf of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness should be very careful not to use even a farthing of the collection for any purpose other than the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, two misunderstandings can happen. The two misunderstandings can happen is number one is one, when we hear of Bali Maharaj's riches in Sutal, we may start thinking that the result of bhakti is something material, that our life becoming filled with material riches. The second misconception can arise is that is bhakti so austere and so difficult to prosecute that Bali Maharaj had to give everything up to obtain the favor of the Supreme Lord. So these two questions are going to be further clarified in the subsequent verses, and we will understand that Bali Maharaj's desire to surrender was 100% pure, and it was not with the vested motive of earning any further wealth at all. And the actual reciprocation that he received from the Supreme Lord, Vamandev, was far, far greater than what he actually possessed and actually offered. And we are going to hear more glories in the upcoming verses. So we'll continue. Thank you very much.